Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hattrick Show on a very, very special occasion where we have our ultimate F1 half season review with Levi all the way from South Africa.
Hello,
Good
guys.
evening, Levi. It's
Good
good to
evening,
see
dude.
you. How are you
I
doing?
see you too. I'm managing pretty good. Today was a busy day, but I'm looking forward to talking anything about F1. I never complain about that. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yes. Well, it's been an incredible year so far, incredibly competitive
Mm,
from the word go, with the McLarens looking very, very strong. But we've had some great performances by many of the drivers. Kind of notably, I was thinking Max Verstappen winning in Japan, which I thought that was a fantastic.
that was a
That,
standout drive. Yeah.
that was great. And also, I love Hulkenberg at Silverstone, getting that
Finally.
podium, wasn't it? That was amazing. That was so good. That was absolutely
Mm,
fantastic. But right from the word go, it was exciting because the first race in Australia was, of course, it was wet and the rookies were all showing that they were struggling by going off on many occasions. But what did you think of the start of the season so far? And what was your highlights from it?
well, as you mentioned before, the Verstappen win in Japan, which was very much more of a driver performance over the car issues, because that Red Bull doesn't have no right to beat the McLaren in most scenarios. But let's try and pick some things that actually were slightly more low key, but are still quite impressive. Is Albon's performance in the first 6, 7 races, where he was just absolutely carrying Williams. Science did start a bit slow, but he's actually doing quite well after that. It's a shame that now everyone in the midfield is caught up. So you can't really see Science's progress as much because he's just had cars breaking down on him.
Yeah,
And there's also Alonso having a great comeback as well throughout the season. It's also been interesting because I think he went through like a stage where he had 6 races where he didn't score a point and still had all the points of Aston. But then he's had those insane races like at Hungary just recently at fifth place and
yeah.
then Aston is insane. So those are quite great performances. And obviously you mentioned Hulkenberg. Wow, that was insane. After how many races was it? Like
Oh,
200
it
and
was
something.
hundreds. I mean, it was
No, not the hundreds. Was it
it
200
was
now almost?
yeah,
Something?
it was at least 200 odd.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was been quite, and
definitely.
he'd come close to it on so many occasions. But
Yeah.
Sauber to get that there, I think is a fantastic result.
He
And
drove faultlessly, yeah.
yeah, great strategy, isn't it? He went on those, made the tires last, and got the
Mm,
strategy right, which was the thing. But I think what's been exciting is that, I mean, we've had obviously the McLarens are very strong, but they've allowed them to race this year as
mm,
well. So that's been really good. That and you know, and I mean, I was watching the some of the highlights from Austria. And I mean, the racing there was
yes.
really, really close. And Piastri really kind of on Norris's tail the whole time. And I mean, he leads by 9 points, I think, going into the summer break. But you kind of think, is he going to manage to keep that, or is Lando on a bit of a run? And will it be a close, a close run to the finish? We'll have to see.
Well, I think it's been quite a fortuitous season for Norris, even though he's kind of let himself down several times in quali. I think Piastri still got a bit over him. Even in qualifying, for example, I've got actually a little bit of information here. It's not like concrete, or it's not exactly accurate, but Piastri's got a 0.113 gap to Norris in, let's just say, relevant conditions. So there has been some laps that have been separated from this, like because you
Mhm.
can't compare if Norris is shunted and then Piastri's done better than, but sometimes you can. It's basically 0.113 is a decent gap. It's nothing crazy, but he has an advantage over Norris, which I didn't expect. I would expect it that Piastri to be stronger in the races and then
Yeah,
Norris in quali, but it's actually seen that Piastri's been the whole like overall driver, more of the overall driver this whole season. So it's been an interesting fight. I just feel like maybe it'll get a bit better as it gets closer to the end of the season.
yeah,
Can Norris actually bounce back properly? Because I feel like he's had a few wins that just were given to him. Silverstone with that penalty was kind of harsh on Piastri, and
yeah,
even that was the thing is though, because he made such a bad start, he did the one stop. If he didn't have such a bad start, he probably would have done the two stop with his teammate, and then he would have
yeah,
finished behind him. So I feel like it's a nice title battle to at least have a title battle, but it hasn't
yeah.
been the ones that I remember when I was a youngster, or even 2021. You can't compare to 2021, but
No.
It's at least we've got a decent title fight so far. Yeah.
Yeah. It's different, I suppose, because the people who are in the hunt for the title were basically Norris and Piastri. They don't quite have the stage presence yet of a Hamilton and a Verstappen, do they? So I think that's why it's not maybe quite the drama, but they are giving us good racing.
Definitely.
And my only thing is we always complain about it's when you watch it. We watch it on Sky or over here in the UK, and when the directors, they tend to miss the close races. They tend to miss the battles that you really want to see, and they've got something going on at the back or somewhere else, and you think, come on,
watching P15, a battle for P15, man, that's not what we want to see.
Yeah. Now here's we've got quite a few people watching. We've got Simon and we've got Ian and a few others here. Let us know where you're watching from. But Simon, who's a real F1 kind of enthusiast, definite, absolutely knows everything about Formula One, and he says, I blame the FIA for the late decision to turn the lights off the safety car at Silverstone. So that's an interesting one. And he also says that Piastri just has the edge on outright pace, which is exactly what you were saying. And DTR is saying, I wouldn't count out Max yet. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of think, actually, if Red Bull suddenly got a big boost in performance.
What's the gap?
Because it's about half a second at the moment, about 3 or 4 tenths. It's not a lot in it, isn't it? A couple of races.
The thing is, the Red Bull aren't bringing any upgrades. And the fact that McLaren, the only reason McLaren are really this dominant, it's not the fact that they have the best low speed grip, best high speed grip. It's because they're just so strong in medium speed corners, and most tracks have medium speed corners, the majority of the corners. So Red Bull not upgrading their car. McLaren are actually still pressing ahead with very minor updates still. I don't see if this was like pre-Spain. I think it was pre-Spain when Max was within 20 points of the lead. Sure, but it's not even like realistic now, in my opinion. It's over 97 points behind Piastri now, Max. I'm sorry, Max is the best driver in the grid, but he's not like overcoming a McLaren in that Red Bull. It's just I think he can get a win or two still, but not a championship, unfortunately. I think he's not going to get the 5th championship in a row.
Yeah, it's not like even in 1990, was it 93, when Senna was in the McLaren Ford, and he was still winning races, even though he was against Prost in that Williams Renault that was kind of able to conquer most things, which was quite incredible. I think won the last round in Australia, and things like that. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how they go. But Carmen Badenhurst has just joined as well, and he's saying those curls.
That's my girlfriend. That's my girlfriend.
Thank you for the support. And
appreciate it.
Now DTR is saying, do you think Ferrari will actually race this year? Do you think they're going to get a bit more competitive?
That's a great question, because I'm the Ferrari fan here, the one that every year I think there's a chance, maybe just a small little chance, and I think if Ferrari can actually the thing is, they've spent how many upgrades this year and it's not worked. Even in Hungary, I thought for 2 stints of the race that actually have Ferrari woken up. Have they sorted out their suspension tricks so they can actually run the car low without wearing out the skid plank? I think that's the issue. No. It was clear that even throughout the whole race, they were lifting on the straights, or they made it so their top speed was much lower than the other cars, so they wouldn't wear out the skid plank. Because when you're going faster, your car's lower, more downforce, more wear. They still got the same issue. They've got a great car if they didn't have to worry about ride-height issues. But listen. I think Ferrari can get a win. I think Singapore, like a very specific circuit, like just like Monaco, where it was a very situational race where Leclerc can do his magic, and he almost won Monaco if he just got pole, but that's Monaco for you. He did keep pushing Norris to the limit there, but I think maybe Singapore you can get away with it. I don't think he's gonna be as close in Monza, because I just think Ferrari struggle a lot in the low speed as well, because they have to compromise their setups. Maybe there could be like maybe 1 or 2 races that Ferrari can do something, but it's just a disappointment. They hyped up the season so much for what? Just a sprint win and a P2 in Monaco. No, this is not it. I think Leclerc is having a bit of problems now here with this Ferrari. I don't know how long he's going to stay there.
Yeah, you do wonder. And of course, Hamilton as well. I mean, that's a big topic on itself, isn't it? Has he lost his skills? Has he kind of getting to the end of it, or is it just the car that's so frustrating that it's just causing him not to be there? Because he's really struggled in qualifying. What do you think? Do you think he's going to
No,
quit at the end
I
of the year?
believe. No, I believe Hamilton's going to be fine next year. I think these generational cars have just not suited him.
Yeah.
He has had his peaks in 2024 when he won a few races, but it's just you saw it even at Silverstone this year. He actually had some really good pace. He finished 4th in that race as well. But he just doesn't like these cars. And with the new cars that are coming, apparently, according to the drivers, that they are a bit more neutral, not as severely understeery at low speed, but then can be an absolute diva at high speed. It's a bit more neutral, so that could probably help Hamilton a lot. I think these new regulations, I'm not just jumping to a tangent, but I think Hamilton just needs to survive this year in the Ferrari and then build it for next year, because I think he has to stick it out of Ferrari. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to go back somewhere else. It's just you put in so much effort to this. It's like, why leave now? Maybe Ferrari builds an amazing engine or an amazing car and gets it right next year, and the next minute he's fighting the Leclerc for a title. You never know. So,
I think that's what Simon's saying. To jump into a new team and start winning straight away these days is very tough. And he's not going to judge Hamilton until next season.
And it's Leclerc. Leclerc. I back him.
Good.
If you're the thing is, people always stir up that stat that he's got like one of the worst conversion ratios of pole to win ratios. But if you actually know F1, there's a lot of nuance to that. I don't think for more than half or maybe 3/4 of those poles, he's actually had a car that can have a good race in. It's always been a good quality car, and then it just falls away. So I think Leclerc is, if Hamilton beats Leclerc, that is insane. Leclerc is probably my top 3 driver on the grid right now. I think it's Verstappen number 1. I think everyone can agree on that. And then maybe you could still put maybe another driver ahead of Leclerc, but I think Leclerc could be probably one of the best if he had a good car, like a good overall car overall. But Hamilton just needs to grind it out. He needs to just get involved in the team more. He's doing a good job. He's even pushing him to the right direction, but it takes time. F1 always is about time.
Yes, I remember when Mansell joined Ferrari and he won. He won the first time out, wasn't it, in that incredible race.
And then just fell away after that, though.
Yeah, I mean, he did won. He won in Hungary from, I think it was like 12th on the grid.
Jeez.
And he beat Senna. And in those days when he didn't have those places to overtake, as they do now at Hungary, where you've got the longer straight, and he got him on one of the kind of little curves because he was coming up to a back marker, and that was an incredible kind of historic race, because that was one of the first times someone had won from so far back, and to overtake Senna to win it as well was another kind of almost.
That sounds like a handful. It does sound like a handful there.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. And DTR is saying that the current car does not suit Lewis. I think that is the case, the way that it's gone. As you say, it needs a bit more development, and hopefully these new regulations will help. And that's it. Mansell had plane tickets booked halfway during the race at Brazil, and then he won it. But the car kept going, and he won. And that's
crazy.
That's a kind of mad kind of thing, isn't it? Those were the days when that was it. If you didn't win, you went home on the plane when the race hadn't even finished yet. But no, that's the thing. Now, there have been some wonderful results. For me, Hulkenberg getting his 3rd place at Silverstone, that was a great result in the Sauber. Were you pleased to see that as well?
That was one of the first. Okay, it was one of the first races this year that I was really captivated just to watch through, because we've had some stinker races this year where it's just no overtaking. But that race kept me on the edge of my seat, because I've been watching F1 since I was about 7. So it's been basically 2 decades almost now. And I remember Nico Hulkenberg when I was at Lighty, and he came in. He was this youngster who got pole position in a Williams randomly in Brazil. And then he lost that opportunity in 2012 when he was in that Force India. Then he had a few opportunities in 2013 when he came 4th several times in the Sauber. I remember that was great, but he never got to the podium. Then Perez kept getting the podiums in Force India, and then I think Renault in the German Grand Prix in 2019 was the last time he had a chance, and then he was dropped, and then all the way back to 2025 he's in the Sauber. Who would have thought? And he just pulls out a great performance, great strategy. He changed to the right tires at the right time, at the perfect time. So the team did a great job as well. Sauber last year could not do a strategy to save their lives. Now they're doing a good job. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
could,
And he was
they're
ahead
doing-
of Hamilton. I mean, he kept ahead of Hamilton at
of
Silverstone
all,
as well.
I didn't
wasn't it?
expect that as well. I didn't expect that. I think in that situation though, it's just the stars aligned as well. He was there in the right place, right time. He just had to deliver the drive, and he did it. For once, he actually got lucky. So that's great.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the thing. And now Puma Nutcap has asked a good question. In your opinion, who is the best ever driver in Formula One?
Dude, that's so situational. I'm gonna sit on the fence here because it depends. It depends what era you're in, though. That's the thing, because you got the you got the 90s where you could probably say Senna, but then you could say also Schumacher was there in the 90s after Senna, and then you got Clark, you got Fangio. It's just you have to.
Incredible drivers.
There's so much nuance to it, though.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
Who am I going to say? Top 3? Because I'm biased. I'm heavily biased, though. My answer's heavily biased. So it has to be Michael Schumacher. Has to always be him.
Yeah.
Has to be Hamilton.
Yeah.
Has to be Verstappen. And there's a Senna as well, though. Senna as well, though. Oh, my word. It's so tough. It's so tough.
It's funny, isn't it? I think as well, because like with the older drivers, like the Sennas, the Prosts, and the ones from on previous generations, there was this kind of stardom that they have, and that has kind of kept going, isn't it? That history is just growing and growing. I think partly because of the tragic way that Senna died. It was, everyone still loves him. Everyone, will never forget him. But and it's different now. But I mean, the stars today are incredible. You got Alonso, who's still cracking out great performances.
I was going to say Alonso as well. The thing is, Alonso is the most underrated GOAT of F1. I think he's still a GOAT. I think you can still classify him as a GOAT because he's been going. He beat Schumacher and he destroyed Ferrari's domination. When I think Fisichella was his teammate back then as well. He could have probably, if he wasn't in that car, maybe Ferrari would have kept on dominating for years on end. So he's been going on for how long now? It's insane. He's amazing. Absolutely, I love Alonso as well. He was a former Ferrari driver, so I always will have a soft spot for him.
Yeah, that was like 2001. Was it 2001? I think he started.
Yeah, 2001 he raced. In 2002 he was a test driver. In 2003 he got to Renault.
Yeah.
So that absolutely insane.
I think 24 or 25 years in Formula One. I mean, okay, he did have a few years out, but that's it. I mean, most people don't have a career for 25 years in any job. But to have that career in Formula One is exceptional. It's like Lewis as well, in 2007 onwards. It's quite a thing to be able to do it. But tell me, as we do, as you're an expert in an ace race simulator, you've won so many GT7 championships and lots of races, and done it in fantastic style as well. Have you what's your idea on F1 simulators, or like the F1 game? Do you think it's quite realistic towards? Does it involve you at all in it? Do you play it at all?
So no, from our interview I mentioned as well, I played the F1 games quite a lot from 2011 to all the way to 2018. But then once I figured out, Gran Turismo on a wheel and then the other games on a wheel, it was a completely different experience. The F1 game, it was fun for a few years, but then it got really repetitive. I just got bored. I can see there is a great skill to being good at the F1 game. The F1 esports guys are insane, but it's such a weird way to drive the car. It's not intuitive, and you have to basically completely rethink how you drive for the other games. And once I figured out, I went to Gran Turismo. Obviously, Gran Turismo is not like the most realistic thing in the world, but it's a lot more intuitive than the F1 games because it was just a bit different. I just prefer the bit more traditional feeling games because now I've actually touched LMU as well and ACC. F1's in its own little pocket.
Yeah,
you really it's quite weird. It's quite weird. Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's not quite an arcade. It's more than an arcade, but it is different. and there's
Yes.
lots of little
Hmm.
fiddly things that you can do, setups and things like that. I did actually play it recently, and they had
Yeah.
this new bit where you have a race where it's the last person gets put out. So you start with about 15 drivers,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
quite good, yeah. And so you have it's literally every 25 seconds another driver gets dropped. So you've got to fight for the highest position you can. Sometimes you start at the back. Now there's not enough people; they fill it up with AI.
It's
Who are quite fast.
elimination.
Yeah, so I can have elimination thing. I thought I might just keep
Okay.
with that because that could be quite fun. But it's
Okay.
a wee bit different. But yeah, there's not the same involvement in the steering wheel because I was down at Brands Hatch on Friday there, and I had to go at the Simtech Sim Motorsport simulators, which are fantastic. They used iRacing as their
Sounds
kind of
pretty
main
good.
simulator. I know it was 35 quid for 20 minutes. It was a fair amount of money.
It's crazy.
It was a lot of money, but they actually have a motorsport school, and they had some karting champions on just before me and my son, and they were doing lots of different. So they can have any combination you want. But we used F4 because they've been there with F4 before, and it was on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. But it was so heavy.
Okay.
The wheel was wonderfully heavy. It was also motion as well. It had a special motion
Well, that's
seat,
pretty cool.
so you could feel the whole thing. And it was really, really good. And I have to say, it felt quite real actually, and it made you think you've got to slow down before the corners. You can't just chuck it in. You have to wait for the tires to heat up and so on. And yeah,
That's brilliant.
It was great fun. And it kind of for me, it's a little bit of a pity that the F1 game can't do a bit more like that and make it a wee bit more. Fix the settings, but make it, because I mean, a real Formula One car is going to be quite heavy, I would have thought, to drive. I know it's got power steering, but it's going to be a bit of a beast, and it doesn't really come over like that when you drive it.
Well, the thing is, in the F1 games, they've been using the same engine for the game for such a while now that it's quite outdated. And the thing is, they're just they're prioritizing making money over improving the actual game, I feel. And it's just been like that for years. I've accepted it. I'm not getting angry about it. I still watch some of my favorite F1 YouTubers sometimes just to see how it is.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'll wait until they actually change, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. That's it. Now, right at the start of the season, they had this thing called F175, this big opening, kind of very glitzy ceremony.
I remember.
And I went back and I watched quite a bit of that. And I don't know if you've seen it all through or
I saw all of it.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I saw
it was.
Yes.
I actually, when I first thought, I thought, oh no, this is just a bit silly. But looking at it again, I quite enjoyed it, and I thought, you know what, they should actually do that every year. I think and open it up to the public so that you can come in and see them, and because I think it's actually quite a good way to start the season.
I remember hearing discussion about this where there was a lot of pull factors and push factors to do this every year. I think what people came to the conclusion is that maybe every couple of years they do this, because if they just kept on doing this every single year, it would lose its sheen quite quickly. The reason I think people were actually quite pleasantly surprised is because, so all the teams are revealing the cars today. That was pretty cool. Yeah. But I also feel like the F1 not silly season, the F1 preseason season is always fun to okay, today is the Mercedes day, today is the Red Bull day, today is the Ferrari day. Yeah, and they had their own little special events, like the Ferrari release in 2023, where they did an actual track test as one of their first little releases for the car. That was cool. We're not going to get to do that if they do these F175. So I think having a balance where maybe every couple of years, maybe 5 years is too far between, but maybe like 2-3 years in between could maybe just basically
or do an event
spice it up.
Track. Maybe do an event at a track where all the cars are there and they launch them on the track one at a time, or team at a time. That would be quite good, because then you could have everyone sitting in the theater, or in the stadiums watching.
Yeah,
almost like that. The one that I like the best is Mexico. They have that wonderful
Mexico is pretty cool.
That amphitheater, the last few corners where they come in and they celebrate at the end. It's a brilliant.
That's the only thing I like about Mexico. Just be honest right now. Yeah.
But imagine it'd be very hot and quite hard to do it there.
And humid, definitely.
Yeah. But they could definitely do it. I mean, the only thing is, at Silverstone, it could well be snowing in February or March time or whatever they're doing.
Just
you never know.
Really cold and wet.
Yeah, it needs to be somewhere where it's going to be warm, because even I suppose Spain, you can maybe get away with it in Spain. But I don't
Spain probably could work.
Yeah, but whether it would have the same, I don't know, the kind of the glamour. Really, they need to do it at Monaco or something like that, wouldn't they? They need to kind of again parade them
Oh,
at Monaco.
Monaco's got so
That
much
would
money,
be
you probably could do it. Yeah, yeah.
that would be quite cool doing it there or something like that. Or France maybe at because they haven't used the French Grand Prix over the last couple of years, have they?
Yeah,
The one that
Magny-Cours. Was it no Magny-Cours?
that was over,
That was
yeah, no,
that was
the old one.
before.
That
No,
was
it was the other one, the track that everyone hates.
yeah, everyone unanimously.
Paul Ricard. Paul Ricard,
Paul
yes,
Ricard,
the one
yeah.
with oceans of
Of blue
runoff.
and yellow and yeah, that's it. That's it. That's
no.
I know that's
I don't miss it. It's just it was maybe okay to drive in some parts, but it was just quite So
yeah.
it could stay there. It could stay there. We've had it. It's been there, done that. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's funny how the tracks have come back because we've got Imola. Well, they don't call it that; they call it Romagna, Italia, wasn't it? The kind of
Emilia Romagna.
Emilia Romagna, yeah. But Imola was famous, and then they have but it's kind of they are bringing some of these tracks back, and it's a huge season. Do you think having 22 odd races or more is kind of is do you think it's too much or do you think it's workable?
We are. I think 24, which we're at now, is just. I think it's on the. I think it's the maximum that is actually should be allowed. I think anything more than that, and it's just okay. Well, every second weekend, essentially, we've got a F1 weekend, and that just sounds exhausting. Even what time am I gonna have to watch the Grand Prix when it's every second weekend? I don't. Let alone all the people who actually have to go to the events and work. That's crazy. But I do want a South African Grand Prix, so
well, Kyalami was famous and some great Grand Prix.
There's so many discussions with that. I'm not even going to hold my breath. We've been waiting for so long, and there is some funding that's been pumped into it, but is it enough? I don't know. It'll be so cool if it happens, but I don't know. Yeah, Turkey's a great shot, and also Portugal. It's also great.
True. Yeah. I mean, Turkey was a great one, and now Turkey's very popular. That's the thing.
It's very good circuit,
and so loads of people go from all over Europe, and Britain especially. So I think that would be one. And I do like Azerbaijan. I really like that. Right, I think
Baku's underrated. Yes,
Baku is a great track. I do like
underrated.
That. So that would be the thing. And Portugal. I mean, the original Portuguese Grand Prix track. I think Estoril is only used now for a handful of race days, but it was a great track. And I watched someone on YouTube had some amazing footage of when they were testing the Williams in 1994, early 94, and it was so basic. It was literally a shed behind the pit stop, behind the pit building, and someone had taken a video of Senna, who was waiting in the garage, and he was talking away to people, and every so often he would come out to the car, and then they managed to get him in the car, and they saw him go around. But it was like about an hour or two long, but it was great because it had all the bits. It was uninterrupted of all the things that were going on, and of course it's Senna in that year because it was such a short year for it. It was we all were hounding for any kind of footage. But it's really how basic it was compared to now, which everything is modern and lovely done and beautifully
and
presented.
safe.
No, that's it. But that race they had at Portimao, though, a few years ago during COVID, that was kind of crazy when Raikkonen came up through the field and overtook about 12 people.
I remember that.
That was an amazing run. That you kind of wonder what other tracks that they might bring back that would actually be quite good, because there's a few forgettable tracks or tracks.
Definitely a few. There's a few on the calendar that just don't deserve to be there. At least Miami. Come on, you're on a parking lot. You can do anything almost in terms of the layout, but they still have got those really weird slow speed corners that just ruin the flow. Even I'm going to say this now. I know there's a lot of Monaco stands out there, and I also was a Monaco stand, but they say there is some free road and infrastructure to change the track slightly, just to make it slightly better, to maybe encourage an overtake. It needs a bit of work though, just a little change, nothing crazy. I remember Alex Wirtz.
Yes, he came up with didn't he? Yeah.
There was 3 proposed ideas to help, not change the circuit's essence. But I remember I've actually got a picture of the hairpin right here.
There was a picture. The lowest hairpin. Yeah.
He was actually proposing just to widen the entry of the hairpin by about maybe a car width or something, and then going into the harbor, the Anthony, what is it, Nouvelle Chicane? Yeah, that one.
Yep.
He was aiming just to say move it 80 meters further down the road, to make the straight slightly longer, and that could work.
Yeah.
And what else was it? I think it was the Rascast as well. He was basically saying, make the corner a little like wider, but basically he was also messing with the inside wall as well. So it encourages you to do a wider line, but then you have to basically, if you want to go for a move, you actually have more of an opportunity to send it down the inside. But those could work. Monaco, I've always accepted it that it's always going to be the worst race on Sunday, but it can always be the best qualifying.
Great. But it's the build up to Monaco that is so exciting, isn't it? Because it does look wonderful, and I have been there, not for the race, but I have been there. And even on a quiet day when it was about a month after the Grand Prix back in 2018, and they were taking everything down. But even at that, it still had an atmosphere because they still have the grid painted on the road and all these things, and it's busy and it looks amazing and it's clean and spotless, and every corner that you recognize has got a monument on it, and it's just wonderfully done. So they build up with this amazing atmosphere, and then sometimes the race doesn't always deliver. It has sometimes in the wet it's been quite good. I remember when Hamilton won in 2008.
It needs to rain to create some chaos. Yeah, definitely.
Because he got a puncture. Hamilton got a puncture, and that meant
I remember he hit the outside wall of I forgot the fast left-hander, the one that's really sketchy. But yeah, he hit the wall on the outside, not got a penalty. He got a puncture, and then he had to nurse the way back to the pits. And he actually, I think, I don't know where you finished that. Wait, he won that one.
Yeah, he won
that.
Oh, I'm sure it was 2008. I think
he did. 2008, he did win.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember seeing the highlights now. I remember actually he did win that. It was a flip-flop type of race. Next minute you're down and out, then you're winning in 30 laps later. It's crazy.
I think because he almost caused a safety car, wasn't it? It was everyone came in, and the timing for him was just perfect, and so he was able to get back out and make it all work. And I remember because I was actually watching that race inside a Porsche dealer. I've been invited by a friend of mine who just bought a new Porsche. And they said, "Oh, come!" They had made the whole Porsche dealer out for the Grand Prix at Monaco, and hardly anybody turned up. There was only about 4 people who turned up. This was in
I would
Edinburgh.
turn up to that. That was cool.
I mean, it was worth thousands. They had a chef and they had everything. They had all these lovely hors d'oeuvres and food and drinks, and literally a handful of people turned up to come in and watch it. So we got these, we were able to watch it on a big screen really to ourselves. And I could have watched it sitting.
That sounds like the best experience. That sounds brilliant. That actually sounds really amazing.
I've done that twice. I've watched the Italian Grand Prix years ago from the Ferrari garage in Edinburgh. And the funny thing was, it was amazing because it was a friend of mine at a business breakfast, and they said they were organising events, and the local Ferrari garage in Edinburgh wanted to do Monza and open up the garage, have a big barbecue, again they had the chef and food and everything, but we didn't realise how big the event was, and again they were struggling to fill the seats. We were told this was a Thursday morning, come on the Sunday. And so I said, bring a friend along as well. So I brought my mate, Phil, who wasn't really into Formula One, but I thought, you've got to come along and experience this. So this will be worth it. We came along, and it was busier. But what was amazing, they had this bit where they had a big screen TV. They actually had Ferrari pit girls that they had brought up from some Ferrari owner, a new contact. So they had ex-Ferrari pit girls who were coming up, giving out the hors d'oeuvres and all this stuff and everything. It was kind of incredible. And I got to test drive a Maserati. It was a Quattroporte.
That sounds like a memorable day. Sounds like a pretty good day there.
That was my pre-Grand Prix event. So I was able to drive the car and then come back and then watch the race. And it was the time where now the McLarens were leading. I think the McLarens were leading.
What year?
What
year was it?
I wonder if it was 2004 or 2005, or I wonder. It was the one. It was the one where the McLarens were leading and they went out. First of all, I think it was Hakkinen or Coulthard's engine blew or things like that, and the Ferraris won.
Then it must have been Raikkonen then and Coulthard then.
Yeah. Because I'm sure the Ferrari won. It was a year where I'm sure the Ferrari won it. I'm sure it was. It was. So I can't quite remember what year, but the Maserati Quattroporte had just been launched, so that was about 2006 or 2007, maybe.
It's somewhere around there. Somewhere.
But it was an amazing experience to have all that. And my mate Phil actually got offered a job in IT by one of the Ferrari owners who was there, and he turned it down. So I know it's another story in itself. But yeah, no, it was incredible. But no, it just shows you what it's like. So what do you think going into the second half of the season? Do you think it's going to be as close? Because do you think there's any chance of other teams maybe improving their performance?
Well, we've got 2026 coming, so not a lot of people actually upgrading the car going forward. So I'm not going to say that's going to be boring, but I think what we need to bank on is that McLaren keep letting their drivers fight, and I think that's what we need to just enjoy. I think the midfield is going to be interesting. The basically positions from third all the way to maybe 7th or 8th are probably going to be not 7th to 8th, because we've got Yuki and Antonelli struggling right now. Maybe from 3rd to 6th is kind of going to be predictable, but then 1st and 2nd and then midfield is looking quite interesting. I don't think people are going to upgrade their cars though, definitely not. But we've got some interesting tracks coming. We've got Zandvoort, then Monza, which Monza, it's not great for racing nowadays, but maybe we could have another crazy story like last year where Ferrari just decided to do well again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Zandvoort, it's actually quite an interesting circuit to watch, for drivers to drive, but it's really small. It's a really tiny circuit. Then we've got Azerbaijan and Singapore. I like those tracks. I like those events. Then we got Austin and then Mexico. Mexico, I don't like Mexico. It's been quite a farce of a track the whole time. I don't like how it is. It's just you can't follow because of the high altitude, and the track is just And then Brazil, the best. USA, Las Vegas. I remember seeing a comment. Vegas has to go. We need to get. Listen, you need to give it a chance. I think the last two, we've had 2 really good races there.
Yeah. It's definitely better than Miami.
Definitely better. The thing is, Vegas is just basically long straights, hard braking zones, and maybe a few squiggly bits. But I can see why people don't like it. But if it creates a good event, like 2023 was a great race. 2024, we had an interesting start to the race where the Mercedes were under pressure from the Ferraris, and the Ferraris just fell off. I remember. It's an interesting event. It's not like the same as any other of the tracks, and it's also at nighttime as well.
Yeah,
very
Vegas
cold
has
nighttime.
Vegas does have a bit of charisma and a bit of glamour to it. It's kind of
and then we've got Qatar and then Abu Dhabi. Qatar, I feel like for these high downforce cars, it's awesome for a qualifying lap, but then in racing, it's quite just challenging just to have a good race there, because it's not really hard braking zones. It's a MotoGP track, so obviously it's going to be difficult to make any move there. And then Abu Dhabi, it's all right. They've made it better in 2021, but it's still, I think maybe, right, in 2026, the whole perception of a lot of these tracks is going to change with the new cars, possibly, if it actually works. Because we all thought, these tracks will be so much better now at the 2022 regs. It worked maybe for the first half of 2022, but now we just can't follow. So racing is quite. I think it's even worse. I think following is worse pre-2022 in the 2021 regs than it is now. I think it feels worse because the slipstream is worse. Dirty air is actually worse as well. So you can't even get closer. So it's really weird. These regs started so strong and then they fell off. I remember last year. Yeah, last year we're saying, oh no, don't change these regs. They're all getting close now. 1 year later, we're like, oh man, these things need to go. So how time can change everything,
I'm definitely with you on Qatar. I'm not massively. I mean, in 2021 it was very close, and it did have a lot of controversial moments and things. But yeah, I do like Abu Dhabi. I think the way that it finishes under the spotlight, going from the sun, sunset, is a wonderful. I'd love to go to that Grand Prix.
I would always have Brazil as the final race, though, than Abu Dhabi. I just feel that it just has something, because I was used to having Brazil as the finale for such a while.
Yeah.
And then they just, money talks. So, Abu Dhabi takes it away.
Australia always started the season, wasn't it?
Yes.
But
Yes.
Australia used to end the season. I remember it was in the
Yeah, it was
90s.
nine. Yeah, that was a
Australia
long
was,
time ago. That was a lot. I
yeah,
remember it was the
Adelaide.
only time.
Yeah,
It was the only time where it was 1995, and then went to 1996. It was at Melbourne. That was the only
yeah,
time where the country was hosted back-to-back races or something like that. I don't know how it worked,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, it was. I just feel Abu Dhabi is kind of just it ends the season in a different, like with a bit of a bitter taste, unless you get 2021, which that was okay.
You could feel
Um,
the tension in the air on that one. At the end
yeah,
of it,
that
everybody
was
was upset, wasn't it? It was kind of,
yeah.
yeah, it was quite
But
a,
I just think Brazil will be better. I think Brazil will be a great finish because it's just got unpredictable weather. It's always produces great racing, even with the terrible, dirty air right now, which is crazy. So just give
yeah,
us that track. So it means basically we just have a better race at the end of the year. Even if we don't have a title fight, we can still have a good race. So
yeah.
it'll be
Now,
interesting.
there were rumors that there was going to be a new Brazilian track, wasn't it? A couple of years ago.
Uh,
I think they've penciled a new track.
I think I remember seeing something that they wanted to cut down a lot of rainforest, and then that got a huge backlash, and then people said, no, no, we can't let this happen." And I think no,
Yeah,
I remember you seeing that they actually was scheduled in to replace Interlagos, but then people, social media
yeah,
flocked to that post, and basically they pulled out of it because they realized, no, this is a bad
yeah,
PR thing. We're not going to be successful now. So, yeah.
yeah. Now I'm trying to think. There was another country that had a Grand Prix track made. Oh, it was
Mhm.
one of the it was one of the
Wasn't
Vietnam, wasn't it? Vietnam was
Yeah,
going to have a
yeah,
race,
and
and
then
that
COVID
never.
happened. And then COVID
Yeah,
happened. Yeah.
yeah. Because
It's
that would
just
be quite
sitting
an
there.
interesting
All
one.
the
But
facility. That track was interesting though. I think that track was decent. It was interesting. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't too out of there. It had a very long straight. Obviously, it had a very long straight. Every Herman Tilke track has a very
yeah,
long straight nowadays. So the last sector was all these like S's, which was quite cool. And then the final corner was just like short, like burst of line. It was pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then also what other circuit before certain events happened as well world, we had another new venue that was penciled in for the Russian Grand Prix. It was actually like, all set up and ready to go, but then that was cancelled. So they built a whole new facility for nothing.
All
And
right,
then
goodness.
yeah, no, it was called Igora Drive. I remember it was a long time ago they
All
announced
right.
it, but then yeah, and
Oh, I
then
didn't know about that. Ah,
well
that's
now you do, you must Google
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
interesting.
Because
Uh,
I never thought the Sochi track was that great.
Oh,
It
Sachi
always was
was
a bit.
just bland. It was
Yeah, yeah.
bland.
That I mean, it had great video photography of it, because you could see
Mm,
lots of it, but it just never seemed to quite take off. It was never an exciting race. I mean, it was a few in the wet.
mm.
I remember when Lando was leading, and then he stayed out too long and he got overtaken in Lewis one, I think it was. But yeah, no, that's the other thing, isn't it? But I remember the Indian Grand Prix. That was one of the last ones that they used with their V8s. They
Yes,
had a few races there, but then and they spent billions on it, or something,
it was a solid
multi-million.
track. They actually had a MotoGP race there in 2023. It's actually quite a solid circuit overall. I like it a lot. I think it was great for F1, but obviously there was this whole other thing that happened that basically the government was like, "Oh no, we're gonna charge it as a not a sport, but actually entertainment. So it cost a lot more for the average person to buy a ticket. So it never
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was it. And then of course you had South Korea. That was a very popular track. I always remember Mark Webber doing well, but that's been off the. Of course, they dropped Malaysia. Now you see Malaysia.
Oh, that's a
That
great
was a
circuit.
yeah, and
That should be the thing is that should be one of the okay. Hockenheim's also great, but no, Malaysia's up there as my
yeah,
top release. If they could get that back on the calendar, that would be an amazing addition back to the calendar. Because Malaysia, wow, amazing circuit. I can't say anything negative about it. It's just a perfect circuit. The weather's also kind of crazy there. So
yeah. Oh, it added
yeah,
a huge. I remember the Ferraris going off. I'm sure it was Barrichello and Schumacher both going off.
Mhm.
And then coming on and still winning the race and still coming back because so many things happened
Sounds
in
like
that
a
2
Malaysia
hours.
weather. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They were struggling with the dropping in attendances. I remember from Malaysia. I
yeah,
remember, but
yeah,
now I think they'll be very different nowadays because they
yeah.
left F1 just before the boom of
And the
Liberty
Americans.
Media
Yeah,
came,
let me see. Yeah.
and if they stayed on just for another year or two, they would
Yeah.
have blown up because it's just the timing is insane.
Yeah. It was a great track. Those bends, I remember even trying to play it on the F1 game, were so difficult. They were the S bends after the main hairpins. But it had so many good opportunities to overtake though. It was a spectacular race to watch. It's going to be interesting. Of course, the big one for Ferrari fans is Monza. That's coming up in the not too distant future. Do you think Monza? I mean, I've never been to Monza. My friends have been to Monza.
I have. I've been to Monza.
Have you been during the race? Have you been?
Yes. In 2012, that was my first and only Grand Prix so far. It was quite a great race, to be honest with you.
Who won that one again? Was that Alonso?
It was no, Alonso did not win. No, it was Hamilton. Wait, let's make sure I got a good memory. Hold on. Wait, let me make sure I got a good memory. I know that Sauber finished on the podium as well. I think Alonso finished like 5th or 4th. Yeah, I'm gonna check right now. There we go. Let's see. Italian Grand Prix. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton qualified on pole, but who won the race? Yeah, Lewis Hamilton did win the race, and then Perez came second. Yes, I was right, and then Alonso third. So he was on the podium. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Because
I got a decent memory.
Lots of people won races in 2012. That was the year when Pastor Maldonado won a race. And remember there was about 8 different drivers that won. It was something like the first 8 races were won by different drivers.
It was first 7 races that won. First 7 with 7 different winners, and then 8 winners in the whole season. British GP 12 times. That's crazy.
That's very good, Simon. That's great. I was always going to go this year because I was 50 this year, but we might maybe try and go next year for the British Grand Prix because it is a great atmosphere. And they have record crowds, which is great. I mean, they have wonderful support.
But the ticket prices, man, wow.
They've gone right up.
I can't go there. I can't go there unless maybe I get my because my mother stays in the UK now. If she can sort me out, because converting rands to pounds is not it. It's not at all feasible. It's not at all.
No, that's the thing. And do you think I know as we're kind of mainly on F1 here, but as we're both big GT7 fans, if there was a track from the Formula One calendar that you could bring into GT7, what would it be?
Let me look at this calendar here because there's so many great circuits. So, oh my word! Okay, the thing is, we had Silverstone in Gran Turismo in GT6. So, I think Silverstone would work really well for Gran Turismo because there's how many layouts? There's 4 different layouts or something. That would be amazing.
That would be really good.
What else could also be a good? I don't know. I think Abu Dhabi. I know it sounds weird, but Abu Dhabi for like other cars would probably be pretty good.
Yeah,
maybe Canada as well. Canada. Yeah. And maybe Circuit of the Americas. Those like 3, pretty decent.
Yeah. I know that's the thing, isn't it? Now Simon's saying he saw qualifying in 1992. I remember because that's on lots of YouTube videos of Alesi and Senna and Mansell all trying to go. And of course, he saw that amazing the Williams Renault at that time having the active ride and active suspension and ABS brakes, and it could keep itself completely stable through the corners, which was incredible. And Lauren has joined us as well. Good to see you, Lauren. And Kresh as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not Zandvoort's last race on the F1 calendar this year?
I can confirm that. No. I think it's 2026. No, it's 2026. It's the last year. Yes. Yeah, there you go. 2026. Yeah. I'm
a little bit surprised at that. I'm sure they'll
Jeddah's also a good shot. Jeddah is. I saw in a GT car as well. It actually is quite a lot of fun. It's quite a scary circuit though. Very scary because every corner is basically blind. I think in the sim it's fine, but in real life when you can't see 100 meters past you and the track just keeps on curving, that's the problem, man. That circuit is. I'm very nervous for a big accident to happen in that circuit because it's going to happen one day, and I don't want anything to happen to anyone else. But it's one of those circuits I feel like something could happen. I don't want it to happen, but touch wood,
Yeah, there's lots of issues. What's always scary is when you have these bits where people are slowing down, maybe to be lapped.
In qualifying as well.
And then people come flying through and don't see it, isn't it? And because you've got those very, very fast corners, which they're very, everyone's committed, and there's not much runoff in some of these with the walls and that, so they have to be careful. But
definitely. It's quite a heart and mouth moment when you see someone have a mistake or go wide at one of those corners. I think it's the intersector one. It's turn 9 or 10 or something in that track. And it's that curb that I remember Mick Schumacher crashing and he hit the wall really hard and split his car into two. I think that was one of them. Insane circuit. I think they have that new circuit that's coming in Saudi Arabia. It's all based around that new city they're building. It does look interesting as well. I think it'll be better than having Jeddah around forever because I think that's just a ticking time bomb. Even though the circuit's great for quali, I think it's just really on edge. Ever since 2021, it's like Monaco but way faster.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? That I take it as you have been. Well, you've been to Monza, which is a fantastic track. Would there be any track in the calendar that you would like to actually drive around? If you had the chance to say that there is an F4 car, go and jump in it and take it around one of these circuits. What kind of circuit would you like to race around?
The thing is, it's kind of a cliche, but okay, it has to be. Spa would be insane. Spa would always be crazy. Maybe let's see. I'm looking at the other ones here. Suzuka. Suzuka would be also a great shot. Those, and also Silverstone, of course. Silverstone, because it's such a iconic venue. You can't say no to that. No,
that's it. Now, there's been quite a lot of I know with this F1 Academy that's going on. They've got quite a lot of women coming through the ranks. They've got Abby Pulling and a few others, and Jamie Chadwick, who's winning races and doing very well.
Indy Lights now.
Indy Lights, isn't it? Yeah, doing really well. Do you think we might actually get a chance to see some ladies take part in Formula One in the next few years?
I remember hearing this conversation about the issues of why you don't see anyone come past F3. It's the fact that F2 and F3 right now, they don't have power steering. But then for F1, they have power steering. And you see all the top GT categories as well. They've got power steering. Listen, there's simple things that just always will be like they are, where naturally a man is stronger than a woman. But if you have power steering, that eliminates a lot of the factors that are hindering F2 and F3 drivers if you are a female, because you just don't have as much strength to wrestle that car around. We saw that with this other great driver, Sete Kamara, I think it was a while ago now, 5 years ago. She was a great driver, but in F2, she just didn't have the physical capability compared to all the other youngsters. So when she got into GT racing, she was doing really well because she had the strength in the wheel. So if we had that little concession for having the steering powered for at least females, it'll be a lot more of an opportunity for them to express themselves on track without having been limited by themselves, if you know what I mean. It's quite tricky. It's quite tricky. And you see even Iron Dames, in the LMU, Le Mans, in WEC, they're doing really well. They're very competitive, but it just proves the point that it's kind of a huge barrier right now that is kind of just being ignored. So let's hope maybe one day they can actually just use a bit of common sense as well. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's interesting to see it all develop. I actually thought when they had Formula W, that was quite a good. I mean, because they did bring them
W
to some
Series,
of the big events.
Right?
Yeah, W Series, and they were quite close, to be honest. And I think the key thing is they're going to make sure that all the drivers are up to scratch, like any series, because there were some very big differences in the abilities of driving. Compared to Jamie Chadwick at the top. In fact, the British drivers were pretty strong, but there was the Norwegian driver. There was a few others that were they really fought for the title. But then you had some of the other ones at the back end of the grid that were usually with some of the accidents. They had a lot of accidents.
Quite dodgy. It was very dangerous. I remember seeing in Canada this year, there was a very dodgy rejoin to the circuit where I think it was turn 7, where now they put grass back there on the exit, where if you run wide, you have to go over the grass now. And they avoided it, but they rejoined the circuit basically perpendicular, and they hit two other drivers. So it's just, that's the thing that you have to really just educate them and get them up to speed as quickly as possible, because when you have incidents like that where someone's rejoining perpendicular, imagine hitting someone at the wrong angle, cracks the chassis, hits someone, it could be dodgy. So
that's it. Do you think
Sorry, I'm in the chat.
All right, sorry, that's the thing. Do you think the engines might sound a bit better next year because there's an upgrade, isn't there? They're changing the engines.
Yeah.
A good bit. Do you think it's going to make it a bit louder, maybe a bit more revs, a few more to add a bit of interest?
Well, the thing is, we're getting rid of that MGU-H component, which is everyone hated it because of what it was, but because it basically just took away all the noise. I think we're still going to have kind of a similar sounding car. It's still going to be turbocharged. It's still going to be a V6. They're not going to be. I don't think they're going to be that much better. They're not going to be anywhere near the V8s from 2013 or the V10s from 2004. But with the MGH gone, there's less recuperation of the energy, so there's more noise that comes out of it. But then we've got less power, and we've got more limitations in terms of the fuel. So it kind of goes back the other way, but we'll have to see. Maybe we'll get some like wastegate noises now because there's no MGH. Maybe there'll be turbo lag. We'll have to see.
That's it, isn't it? Because it's always what makes it. But I mean, you know, I on the F1 game, I actually like to play the GP2 time trial because you've got a lovely engine in that, and it actually sounds really quite nice.
The Mechachrome.
Yeah. And I kind of think, it'd be nice to get something a bit more tuneful that have a bit higher revs. I used to love the old engines because they read up to 17,000 RPM or more, you know, and it was
crazy stuff.
It was so good. And there were rumors that some of the heads of F1 were saying that maybe in 2029, when they come to the next set of regulations, they might bring something back. But I know that's the thing. Simon is saying put speakers in the back of the car.
Oh, stop it! They do that for the new Hyundais. I saw they're putting speakers in the car to mimic the actual car noise. No, come on.
I think the Arbach has got it as well.
I think if I was in control of this, I would use sustainable fuels and then do like high revving V8s, and maybe the thing is that you have to have a part of electrification to make manufacturers stay in it right now, and that's the thing. Do they just say, okay, we're not gonna stick to this, we're just gonna do just a naturally aspirated engine and that's it, which would be my choice, but it's not realistic. I think there's always gonna be some type of electrification involved because that's the way they keep the manufacturers in. But listen, I would love that. I'm trying to think realistically though. I think we have to give these new engines a chance before we say, oh no, they're not good. And even if these cars, they look interesting, they're getting smaller, they're just great. They're also getting a bit narrower, so maybe a little bit more space on tracks to race. But I don't even know what to expect. It's going to be interesting. Active aero is cool, so I'm excited.
Yes, active aeros and all these kind of things. And I mean, to be fair, the cars have gotten noisier over the years. I mean, when they first started in 2014, they were so quiet you could actually hear the crowds cheering. And I remember
the tire squealing.
Yeah, I mean, they thought, my goodness, we haven't heard that in years. But no, it would be nice to get a little bit more noise. But at least, I mean, from when I was at the Silverstone Festival last year, they had the Mercedes on track from the current season, the 2024 car, and it was great. I mean, the speed, it was the track had been wet and it was drying out, but my goodness, the speed when they went past was absolutely insane. And I thought, to see 22 of them racing around any track is going to be spectacular. But it was still fairly noisy. I mean, it did make you kind of you knew
they have got louder. They have definitely got a little bit louder, but they're still not the. I think they still have a bit of a distinct sound now, but they're nothing crazy compared to what we used to have. I remember when I was at the Grand Prix, I had to wear the earplugs. I had to cover my ears, even if I had all the protection on. Now with these other cars, they are loud, but you can manage it. You know, that's not. It shouldn't be like that. It should be screeching.
Yeah. Oh, I remember because I remember in 1993 when I saw the European Grand Prix at Donington. I mean, they were all V10s, V12s, V8s, and just watching them come around on the warm up lap was incredibly loud. And you had to have we didn't have any ear protection. We just had our hands, and that was it. But we were kind of joyful, even though it was kind of wet and miserable. We were kind of just having this great joy, hearing all the cars going round, and then heading off. And that was the other thing. You knew that the race was away because the lights went on to red, and then that was off, and then you could hear the revs go right up, and then it just dropped, and then off they went. It was
absolutely sensational.
Yeah. And how did you find? Where were you standing at Monza for the race?
So it's the stand just before. Monza's got that glass tower just on the main grandstand, like the actual main straight. When you're going down the straight, there's this little glass tower to the left of it. There's a grandstand just before that. That's the one I was standing in. I could see the whole start, and I could see turn one. It was amazing. It was great.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely
Oh, that is
insane.
quite a thing. Because they've cut down a lot of the trees at Monza now, haven't they? They lost a
No,
lot
they
of-
didn't cut it down. They didn't
They
cut it
lost-
down. Unfortunately, a huge storm blew
Right.
over the trees. The track
Yeah.
looks completely different. It's quite sad because you would assume, you're driving into the forest. You can't actually. There's no more forest. It's just all the trees are gone now. So they're doing a lot of they're replanting all those trees there, but it's going to take several years just for them to grow back. But it's kind of sad because I remember walking through there. There's just it's a whole park, and it's now, when you look at the new onboards, I think in 2023 when it actually happened,
Yeah.
it's so much brighter going
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Lesmo 1 and 2, especially because you're used to seeing all the shadows casting over the track there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no
yeah.
more shadows because it's all the trees are gone. It's kind of weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I have to say, I mean, watching Formula One, it is an incredible sport, and it isn't like anything else because it takes it to that, higher degree. As it's the highest degree of motorsport and challenge. But it is, and when you see the drivers and you see their thoughts, it's maybe. I don't think they're interviewed as well now as they used to be. I think there used to be a lot more great. A driver would just have a video all about himself. In terms of in the old days, it would just be follow Mansell or follow Senna through the year, and after every race, he would do a documentary update on what happened, and you get all these kind of insights. I know now they've got Drive to Survive, which is maybe their kind of take on it. But I think it would be quite nice to get the drivers more inner thoughts of their ideas on life and challenges and how you go through these things as a driver and how they get there, because I think that gets more of an emotional attachment to who they are and how it goes. And I don't think they always get that. They kind of, the Drive to Survive is more the thrills, yes, and the controversy, but it's not quite the same as having a driver in his literally in the back of his motorhome after a race when he's failed to finish, telling you what he thinks of what's been happening.
We do get some people though who are opening up to, because we got obviously Max who streams his racing. He just jumps on randomly and starts doing iRacing. We do have a few people. Norris occasionally streams with his Quadrant team. And when we had COVID, obviously we had Leclerc, we had Russell, we had Albon. But the thing is, I think some of the drivers just don't want to be completely out there all the time. I think it gets exhausting as well to them. So I think it's like a balance to it, though. I think though that what I saw P1 posted recently with Matt and Tommy, they did an Albon interview, and we got just a nice little glimpse into Albon's thought process, and it's cool. It's just a little bit of get to know him a little bit better. There has been some interesting things as well, like podcast wise. Like High Performance Podcasts have got some drivers on there as well. They talk a bit about their experiences. Those are the things I really like to enjoy listening to, because they're a bit more down to earth and they're not in a rush. They're not in they have to go to every single little interview on the weekend.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think I remember when the FIA used to publish their videos at the end of the season, and we all were jumping to get to them because they were great to watch on VHS videos. And I remember watching the one in 1992 when Mansell became champion, because Murray Walker, literally the day after Mansell won in Hungary, he went to his home, I think, in the Isle of Wight. Or the Isle of Man, whatever it was, and followed him there, and Mansell couldn't get rid of him. But obviously they were very good friends. But then he interviewed him, because now this was him, Nigel Mansell, world champion, and he wanted to get a kind of first for the BBC to get this world title video, and it was great because it went through all the races, and then of course it was after that when he got fired, when he couldn't renew his contract for Williams.
Oh, that was insane.
Crazy, isn't it? But no, it's quite a thing. Sean has joined us, Floyd Genius, and it's good to see you. And then I know that Floyd is a big Formula One fan, so it's good to have you all. It's good to see everybody who's watching, and we've got Levi here, always from South Africa, who just won the MSA Championship a week past Monday there. This on his travels, did it in style, which was great. And of course, you've got a big event coming up, which is Finland versus South Africa on the 24th of August.
Yeah, this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday coming. And we've got Dana, who's just come along as well. Welcome along, Dana. Good to see you. But we've been summing up our F1 review so far.
Yes.
And I mean, there's so many drivers that have that because it's such a big grid and so many things happen. We were just talking there about Albon. I mean, he's done well. The Williams is up there and is showing signs.
Yes.
Gets into P3 quite often, finishing in the
He's
points.
eighth. He's eighth in the championship right now, which is insane to think about. But remember, I think Williams they haven't upgraded their car since probably the first quarter of the season. So yeah, I don't think Williams are necessarily going to be gaining that many points. They just need to get like a couple of like P10, P9s consistently, and they can just solidify their spot in the championship being in P5. But if Aston Martin do what they did last race in Hungary, at certain tracks where they have very high peaks, you never know. That P5 for Williams could look a little bit more in danger, because they gained how many points for a P5 and a P7? That's 10 plus 16 points, and they jumped from P8 to P6, Aston. So it's interesting. I think Williams though, instead of actually, let's just say, blowing them up now for this season, I know they did a great job, but I think next year is actually to be more interesting, because they're going to have a Mercedes engine as well in the back of that car. And they actually have a really good team behind them now. You can see that all the things they're doing is correlating on track. So maybe they could be a dark horse for next year as well, because they're going to have a lot of development time focused on that car. And they've barely done this work on this year's car since they released it. So it's exciting, really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's great to see Williams do well after all the trauma they've had over the last few years. To see them recover. The Floyd's just been asking me, how was my holiday? Well, I have to say the best point of the holiday was visiting Brands Hatch and realizing just how narrow that place is. I thought there's no way those cars back in the 80s could have even fitted side by side on the start-finish straight. It's tiny.
Exactly.
It's incredible. But I also had the Sim Motorsport simulators. Now they have a site at Brands Hatch, just at the back on the opposite side of the pit lane, and it's fantastic because, I mean, to be fair, I know I spent £35 for 20 minutes, and I had to pay that again for my son. But the guy Simon is fantastic, and it's worth every penny. Because he actually takes, it's not just sim racing that they do there; they do a whole motorsport course. So they're getting people from karting and people who want to try and get into motorsport. They can even get sponsorship and all sorts of, they train you as to what you need to do to go forward in motorsport. So it's really from sim to F1, or to particular motorsport avenues, which is great. But have a guess, Levi, how much the simulators cost per rig? How much do you think they cost?
In pounds, though, the thing is, in pounds, it's very different. I'm gonna throw a random thing out there. Is this including the rig and the wheel?
Yes,
and
all the stuff? It was a motion
the
simulator,
monitor. A motion.
The whole thing.
No,
everything
it has to be £5,000. I'm gonna guess something ridiculous like that. For me, it sounds ridiculous.
Times that by 7.
35 quid.
£35,000 they were.
Oh
each.
My word!
And they've got about 6 of them in there. And they had a second-hand one for sale that was at a triple monitor, and it had a whole bunch of things, and it was a mere £17,500.
That's insane.
But it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal, I have to say. I mean, it was so heavy that everything just felt. I mean, after 20 minutes, we were absolutely shattered. I mean, it was hot on that day, but we were stinking. I was like someone walking in the desert. But yeah, it was a lot of money. But my goodness, it was. I suppose if you're going into motor racing for real, that's a small cost to pay for what you need to do. But no, it's and it's so accurate. That's the other thing. It had a wheel like F1. It was amazing.
I want to ask you something, Hugh.
Yes.
I want to ask one crazy prediction for this season, for the last 10 races. Like, it could be just one prediction, like just something that you think could happen.
I think it happened a few years ago, and I think it might just happen again. We might get a wet Grand Prix in Singapore. When that happens.
Okay. Something crazy could happen there. I'm gonna say something. Let's see, maybe, because the thing is, any of the top 4 teams probably can realistically win a race on merit, even if there's a little bit of mistake. But I'm gonna say we could see, because we've got some crazy tracks coming up still that, with the crazy weather, let's just see here. Maybe we could have, let's see here. We've got, we've got Vegas. Vegas always is a kind of a curveball track because of the cold conditions. We've got Azerbaijan. We've actually not had a really good Azerbaijan Grand Prix in a while, though. I want to say we're going to have a random person. I think we're going to have like a rogue podium finisher, maybe a Bortoleto podium. Because he's doing really well.
Yeah, he's really.
I'm going to say a Bortoleto podium in one of the Grand Prix before the end of the season. I'm going to say something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Because I think he could do something crazy. He's been doing really well. Yeah, and they still keep upgrading their car, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Gasly winning? Come on. Come on. No, that is... No, because Alpine have got... No, Alpine...
It's terrible.
I don't know. I think Alpine of all the teams, I don't know. They almost won in Brazil last year, but that was a very different situation.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Maybe you never know. Maybe not. Maybe
I'm just trying to think. We've never had a wet race in Abu Dhabi, have we? I can't remember seeing a wet race.
If it rains in Abu Dhabi, then you had someone get a sprinkler system installed, because it's like 99.9% certain it's not going to rain in Abu Dhabi. It's even Qatar. You have to have extremely specific conditions to happen, or to actually have raced there. Not race there, wet there. It's the last like 3 races: Las Vegas, Losail, and Abu Dhabi. It's not going to rain. Come on, you don't need to bring the wet tires.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. But one of the races, that race in Singapore where it rained, that was the one where my brother, he messaged me. I was at the time I was working in the care industry, and I had a wee break, and my brother texted me on the WhatsApp and he says, "Oh, guess where I am? I'm looking out my hotel window and I can see a racetrack with Formula One cars on it." And I said, "Okay, you're in blooming Singapore." And he says, "Should I be bothered to go down and watch the race?" And I went, "Yes." Go down there. He had gotten a hotel on a deal because he was over there on his work, and they said, he could give him a pass to go and see wherever he wanted.
Wow, that's
he did go down and see this incredible race.
Jeez.
I know it's kind of crazy. And Sean has said Hamilton winning the next 10 races. Hedge your bets. It would be. I would so love to see.
Like we mentioned earlier, I think Ferrari have a chance at maybe 1 or 2 races this year. When they have obviously very specific circumstances, like Singapore. I say it because it's a street circuit. A lot of low speed corners there, and then maybe even Las Vegas, but the other tracks, they just seem like, okay, McLaren is going to be head and shoulders above the rest. Is that the saying? I think it is the saying. And then you could have a Red Bull possibly in the mix at like maybe Monza, maybe Interlagos, maybe like those circuits where there's not, it's not many like variations in corners. It's quite the same. And maybe Qatar. I think Qatar, we could see Verstappen win just because high speed corner, medium speed corner. It's way more specified for high speed cornering. So maybe we're gonna get a Verstappen win still this year. Definitely another one. But then
I think so. And
I think we've got more chance than that.
Yeah, he can pull out in the wet whenever it looks like it might be wet. They always have to count Verstappen in, isn't it? Because it's and they still, I think you can almost see it in the other drivers thinking, "Oh, we thought this might be our race," and then Verstappen comes in and does this incredible result. It is, and he makes races that were normally full of overtaking, and he can stay at the front. He can stop all that overtaking. He can kind of block well and keep it going, which is always, I think, a real sign of a great driver. It's the blocking tactics, isn't it? Being able to keep other drivers behind you. Now, Sir Mags has joined us and saying that he is your favourite. He is your number one fan there, Levi. Are you worried about that? Are you going to be calling the police saying?
No, I'm good. No, we're good. No, we're good.
We'll need to get Mags on the next one.
Definitely.
No, that's the thing. And Kresh has said, Max, Super Max. Yes, it's certainly. I think we don't know that much about him. That's the thing. We don't get to see an awful lot of his kind of, as with his private life, which it's nice for it to be private, to be fair.
Yes.
But it would be nice to. He seems like actually a lovely family man. And I think
definitely
there's a big side of that. Yeah, which is nice. I would like to see Lewis get married and have a family. I think that would be a lovely thing for him. It might just take the pressure off a bit because I think you're in this sport so much. He needs something to kind of
He's
give
still
him.
focused on F1 though. You can clearly see that though. He's just like Alonso, laser focused, just F1 for life. It's crazy. He's like, I want that 8th title. Alonso just wants to possibly just have a chance at fighting for wins. I think that's realistic. I think maybe, listen, like I saw someone in the chat earlier saying Aston Martin have the best car. You know, even if you have the best car, you have to have so many things go right next year that the new engines as well. You have to have the engine go well. You have to have the car go like perfectly, and all these things have to go right. It's not about who makes the perfect car. It's about who can get all the most things correct and working together harmoniously as possible for the first the first half of next year. It's going to be all about people discovering what is the best way to like drive these cars and set up these cars, and then we'll just have to see from there. It's going to be exciting. I always like a new regulation set because I've been around it for quite a while now. So I've seen it all. I've seen it all now.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. And I've asked a quick question. I said, if there was any driver that you would like to have lunch with, who would it be? Who do you think would be an interesting person in F1 grid?
Does it have to be current? Does it have to be a current driver?
No, anyone at all. It
has to be Vettel. Vettel's my favorite driver. He is my favorite driver of all time. So it has to be Vettel, 100%. Yeah. What is yours?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I would have loved Ayrton Senna. I would have loved to have lunch with him and just to kind of ask him what he was like. Those big questions. But in this stage, although I think it'd be really interesting to have lunch with Lewis Hamilton actually and find out his story from the early days, because he doesn't say so much about it, about how he kind of his early days of growing up in the sport and the battles that he faced with that. He's said little smidgets about it, but it would have been interesting to find out more about that. Puma Nutcap said Michael Schumacher. Yeah, definitely. Michael
He's
Schumacher.
Absolute legend. He actually, I think Schumacher is still my idol of all time, but Vettel obviously is more worthless, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to mention too much, but you know what I mean. But definitely amazing guy. Yeah.
Sean has come over a very interesting thing here. He says,
okay.
Liam would pick Lando Norris. Then we would struggle to tell who is Lando and who is Liam.
Hey, man. That's crazy.
I just cottoned onto that now. But,
jeez.
You can get your own back, Liam, on him. I'm sure you can. He'll get your own back on. And credit Rory Byrne.
The South African Ferrari engineer.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. But no, this has been fascinating. Are you okay for time, Liam, or are you needing to?
I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. Not in a rush. Don't worry.
That's fantastic. And I have opened up the opportunity, because hopefully we'll have a few more of these in the near future.
That's awesome.
If you're happy to come back, I'd love to do this a bit more regularly, because it is. Especially, I even think we should do really a watch along, shouldn't we, on a Sunday afternoon?
I would like to do maybe like a watch along maybe once in a while. I used to do watch alongs with my New Zealand friend, and actually that was quite challenging with the time zones. I don't think the watch alongs would be too bad, but I would do like a watch along for let's say a race maybe once every couple of races, because I've got quite a dedicated few friends who like you are watching the race with us. So we could do that. I think maybe once in a while that'd be cool. No,
that would be great. And I've opened it up as well. If you'd like to join us alongside Levi and myself, we can take definitely a good 2 or 3 more, which can always add to the interest of what we're doing, and it's fantastic. Now I saw you snigger away there, Levi. What have you noticed?
Oh no, don't worry about it. It's just my girlfriend has a fascination for Charles Leclerc. So
you can't have him round for tea.
No, definitely not. It's just
the money might win there. You know, my.
What can I do, man? What can I do?
You know.
Man.
It is funny, isn't it? It is very funny. But it's the thing. And Sir Max has said he'd join us if he's not too busy doing exams.
That'll be cool.
But yeah, I mean, this is a great thing. What's nice about Formula One, though, isn't it? It's a bit like the rugby. You can go there, support your team, and have a lovely
Why?
atmosphere.
Why do you mention the rugby after we've just lost against Australia? That is just
Oh,
hurting
that's
me now.
true. That's just.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah,
Oh,
that is true.
I'm a Scotsman. We
thanks
never win
you.
anything. We get
Thanks you.
all the hype. We get like the hype of Monaco and then lose on everything.
Wow,
So,
you just had to remind me of South Africa going 22-0 up in the rugby. I think it was 22-0 up, and then
is it-
they lost 39-22. They didn't score a point after 30-something minutes. So,
oh,
yeah,
goodness.
I'm
That's a
still
tough
feeling
one.
a bit of anger after that. Sure, you've got so many South Africans in here, man. You just,
Ah, well, that was a Freudian slip.
That's crazy.
I have to watch Scotland England rugby kind of highlights, you see, to try and motivate me.
Yeah.
Because we've beaten them a few times, not this year, but but in the last few years we've done all right there. But it never goes further than that. But no, we'll quickly moving on back to Formula One on those things. Yeah, a fascinating year with great drivers out. There was a bit of thing that we missed. Remember with Alpine in the early part, they got rid of Jack Doohan very early on, didn't they? There was a lot of controversy between different drivers, and Colapinto coming in, and now he's struggling. All sorts of things. You kind of wonder if it's just money, or if it's more than that. If it's there's a lot of things that count in Formula One. But what do you think of these? The rookie drivers have done okay in some parts, I think.
Let's have a look at the standings here, just to remind myself. So I remember Jack Doohan. I remember just before he got dropped, he actually out-qualified Gasly at what's that track again? The Hard Rock Stadium track, Miami. Yes, he actually did pretty well there. He was progressing quite well. He obviously did have those big shunts, but the rookies that are starting to really just stand out from the rest. Hadjar at the beginning of the year did really well. He's had a few dodgy results recently, but Antonelli, I think they really need to just kind of, hopefully the summer break's done him a bit of good, because he's really struggled during the European part. He got that podium in Canada, but then he's got the really high peaks. You don't get pole in the sprint qualifying at Miami for like a fluke. It's not a fluke. He's got the potential. He just needs to maybe not. If you relax, you also go. So he just needs to basically just trust himself a bit more and build his confidence slowly, and not try and go to 100% immediately.
Yeah.
The other rookies, though, let's have a look here. Colapinto, I don't think he's actually as bad as you think he is. I think he had no preseason testing. He's gone to a brand new team, different engine, different car. What more can he do? Ollie Behrman, he's got really good peaks, but he's just kind of been crashy. But that's expected for a rookie. But he's also done really well in quali, though. If you didn't know, let's have a look here. He's only in qualifying, just as a head-to-head qualifying gap. He's only 0.022 seconds behind Ocon, who is a much more experienced teammate. He's no slouch. So obviously points speaks a bit about what he's doing in the season, but he's qualifying is doing really well. He's the closest teammate pairing on the grid. And then you get Bortoleto, who's actually now beating Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg's a great qualifier. So those two rookies putting pressure on their teammates. Hadjar doing really well. Do you classify Lawson as a rookie? I guess, yes. It's his first full season. Lawson's doing quite well recently, and Hadjar's actually kind of struggled a bit compared to Lawson. So it's good to see Lawson actually getting his mojo back, because I think he's a really good driver.
Yeah.
Who else do we think of? Who else? Is that all? Yeah, I think that's all the rookies.
I have to say, watching Bortoleto, who was really continuous at the back of the grid at the start, but then work his way up, and then in these last few races, he's done very well. So it's great to see that. Now we have there's two things I think we haven't actually touched on.
Okay.
The Mercedes team in general, because they seem to be up and down quite a bit. I mean, now they're almost at the same level as Ferrari, aren't they? They're not much in it between them.
The thing is, Mercedes have never been really good in this ground effect era. Besides that short little period last year from Austria to, I think it was Spa, where they won 3 of the 4 races and they looked really dominant. And then Ferrari came in the chat, McLaren came, Red Bull came back. I just think Mercedes just didn't gel with this regulation, and they move on. Just try and move on. I don't know if that will work. They've still never found the full extent and found the problem with their car. So maybe it's just this generational car. I still think they're probably, if I would bet money, and I don't want to believe this, I would rather want Ferrari just to win a championship for once.
Yeah.
I still believe that Mercedes will probably be the most well-rounded team next year. I think.
Yeah,
I just feel
yeah.
from what they did in 2014, I think they'll make a good engine. And I think the engine will be more important than the car for at least for the first half of next year, because I think it's just going to be all over the place. I think people will also be discovering everything. Mercedes just haven't been good through these generational cars, really.
Yeah, because I mean, this year's been very, very changeable for them.
Up and down.
Yeah, and you kind of think, well, it's you kind of they looked promising at the start. I thought they might be quite close to Mercedes at a while, and they were
consistent.
And they were challenging Max and keeping Max kind of.
Russell's doing a great job as well.
Yeah,
he's doing a good job.
Definitely growing. It just shows you that what the cars are just that little bit extra makes all the difference. Plus a good driver, and then of course, Hamilton must still be if the car is right to win the sprint race in China. That's a tough race, and I'm going to show there must be something right there. But then he was nowhere.
The Ferrari is a great car. It's just they can't run the car as low as the other drivers, other teams. I mean, so if the Ferrari, you saw in Hungary, even if they were, like I said earlier, they were managing their skid plank wear. If they weren't managing it and they actually didn't have to worry about it, then they'll be really good. But that's not fair, obviously. So, yeah.
No, that's the thing. I've just put my little ticker banner at the bottom there, just to remind everyone. Now, I was going to say, Levi, it's fantastic to have you with us, and you've done incredibly well on GT7, winning these championships. You stream every week on Twitch. Please feel free to put your links there in the comments and things like that. Or if anyone who follows Levi wants to do that for him, you're more than welcome to put that in the comments for you, so we can get you as many subscribers as we can.
Yeah, I also uploaded a video today as well from one of my races at the MSA Cup, which was really cool. So had fun making that when I was at home today. Yeah, it's good fun.
The MSA's been extraordinary, actually. How great the coverage has been, and how great the racing has been. Every race has been a nail biter to watch, with all the strategy and the overtakes, and it's been a classic championship. So a big victory for you there, and you had to fight for it, wasn't it? It was a
tough championship.
Yeah, Richard did push you. And he had victories, and it was it was good to see the competition really hotting up, which is
Definitely.
fantastic. That I was going to say, when will be your next live stream?
Oh, probably tomorrow. Yeah, definitely tomorrow, because it's Wednesday dailies. I actually enjoyed this week quite a lot. Interlagos is always a great track in Group 3, so we're gonna have some fun there. And it's gonna be some daily race C. Daily race B, Group 4 is always Group 4, but Group 3 at Interlagos is the bread and butter. It's always a great combo.
Yeah, I've yet to try.
Nutcap's actually got a good question before we close out. What is your top 5 right now?
My top 5 current drivers in Formula One. I think Verstappen has to be there. Give him a car that's anywhere near the top, and he'll walk it. He'll make the most of it. But I would say that also for Lewis too. I think Lewis could be right up there. Give him a car that's anywhere near, and he would be right there. Then I would say, I think Piastri. I think Piastri has got, as you say, as we agreed at the start, is that little bit ahead of Norris. I'd like to see Norris do better, but I think he's just got a bit more. He needs a bit more aggression and a bit more drive, I think, to get up there. And my 5th person, who would be my 5th person? Oh, that's a tough one.
What about Alonso?
Yes, I mean, Alonso, wait till that Adrian Newey car takes effect, because that surely that will have an effect over there. So Alonso, I mean, in terms of the skill rating as well, he's right up there. And of course, sorry, carry on.
No, you can carry on. No, you're speaking.
It's very hard for a top 5 because there's so many great drivers, but I think those are my top 5. I think it would be Verstappen, Lewis. I failed to mention Leclerc, actually. That would be.
It's a tough one. It's really tough. But I would say, so yours is it's Verstappen. You said Hamilton. What else are the other 3 again?
Then, to be fair, I'd put Piastri, then I'd put
Yeah.
Leclerc, and then I'd put
Yeah.
Norris, I would say.
Okay.
Overall.
I'm gonna say mine's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna say right now in form, in terms of just driving right now, it has to be Verstappen, it has to be Russell, it has to be Leclerc, it has to be Piastri. Oh my word! And then thing is though, if I don't say, thing is, I really don't think. I know Norris is only 9 points behind, but I don't think he's. I think it's someone else. I think I would say Alonso. So yeah, Verstappen or Russell, Leclerc. No, I think I'm actually understanding Piastri. But yeah, those four, and then Alonso, and then Norris if he was sixth. I'll put him sixth. And then Hamilton will be maybe seventh. Just based on like just right now form.
Yeah. It is close. It's an amazing sport to follow. And I have to say, it'll be nice to see it back at the end of the month at Zandvoort. And I had a crazy dream the other night. They brought Zandvoort to GT7. Don't ask me.
No, it'll be a pretty cool.
Track. Yeah,
it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of, it'll be interesting. I wonder if they'll ever do that before they get GT8. Can't be too far away. And we'll see how it goes. But I'll be streaming again. I might try, if I can, possibly tomorrow, but definitely Thursday for the time trial. That's
awesome.
Doing our stream then, and I'll be doing the portrait one as well. And we figured out a way, although we weren't able to do it tonight, where our guests on the show can actually
stream.
If I get the link right, I can assure you don't have to pay for it. I don't know how that happened now.
It was last week.
I don't know what happened there, because it said allow for guests to go straight on there to stream from their channel, and it's completely free because I pay for the whole thing here to allow them to do it. So then you can actually go out to your own channels directly, and then your community
and multi-stream
as well. And multi-stream,
cool.
So it can be. Maybe we'll see if we can get that working for the next.
We'll make it happen. Yeah, we'll make it happen next time.
That would be super. But it's been an awesome pleasure to have you on the show, Levi. You're absolutely fantastic. Your enthusiasm, your knowledge of Formula One is even as strong as your racing talent there on GT7 and more.
Thank you.
But, it's great to have you. She was in the top 100 on Daily Race C. Well, I haven't done it yet. But maybe add on a couple of zeros on the back of that, and that might be about right. I do try and get in the top 1,000. If I can get in the top 1,000 in all of them, and I try and get into, and Race A is my strongest. If I can get into the top few hundred in there, that's usually good for me. But no, it's been absolutely awesome to have you on the show. I know it's very late over there, 10:30 in South Africa. So I'd like to have a nice early night, and all the best with the rest of your week. And we'll have you back on again when we do our next Ultimate F1 review.
I look forward to it
on the Hugh Hat-Trick Show. But take care, everyone, and maybe you'll win a cap next time. I'll have to send you a cap as a reward there, Levi.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Drive fast, don't crash cap. All the way to South Africa. But thank you very much for putting your time aside.
Ciao, everyone.
Thanks to everyone who's been watching and listening and commenting. It's been great to have you, and have a great week. And remember our motto: drive fast, don't crash. And bye just now.